from one day on the other. Our private, our business, all of our bank accounts, two banks, KBC, Belgian big bank, and Belfius, Belgian big bank. All of our accounts got completely blocked without zero prior message, zero communication. KBC, months now, still completely blocked. Still zero communication. Absolutely wild. There's an investigation ongoing. That's all we're getting. Belfius did unblock us with just a message, hey, we're blocked from this period to this period, referring to some legislation, basically saying, yeah, all you can do is cry about it. It was a suspicious transaction. And that's it. That's it. You just got completely ejected out of the fiat financial system without any warning, any message, no justification whatsoever. And at that point, it's really defeatist. You really feel like a complete Russian dissident, like some Chinese government opposing voice. It's just so utterly wild that happens to, in the end, just building out a specialized IT business, right? Selling some specialized IT hardware, some specialized IT, the USB devices, and then some IT security guidance. We're not selling any Bitcoin, and just selling some, and we got completely unbanked. And it's really the week. It happened the week before Bitcoin Amsterdam, and I was driving, and I didn't. At some point, I want to grab a drink at a gas station, right? And you realize I can't pay for food. I can't pay for drinks. I don't have my none of my cards are working. And then you realize your day-to-day life. Can't go to the shop to buy groceries. Can't buy groceries. Have to pay cash. It's such a hassle. You get completely ejected, and it's just a systemic approach. It's not just the deplatforming, not just the unbanking, but when you start to dig, you realize that it's really the regulators who are, ironically, with the best intentions, making monstrosities of regulations, and that just scares all these payment gateways and the bank with fines, and they just want to touch with a 10-foot stick. It's crazy. It's so systemic. You know what's happening. You want to build a business here in Europe. It's already crazy. If you want to build a Bitcoin business here, there's so much proof that has to happen, and it's absolutely wild what we're facing on a systemic basis. Wild.
Welcome, Rob Segers, to the Larpar Show, where we talk about what is money, what is coming, and how to protect your family. Rob runs Bitsaga, an unbanked and deplatformed Bitcoin startup from Belgium. He's also working on a book called Securing Bitcoin on advanced Bitcoin security practices. So he's here to share his story. And Rob, how did you find Bitcoin, and how has it changed your life?
Hi, Lawrence. Thanks for having me. I got into Bitcoin relatively early on. And of course, when you first meet Bitcoin, you don't fully grasp yet what it is, right? So I got, as many of us did, completely distracted with the crypto sphere, right? And because I have a technical background as a software engineer, I guess somewhat related, I got completely distracted in the technical side of the crypto sphere, and I was also in the degenerate trading side completely. I went deep into on-chain leverage yield farms. I remember writing smart contracts on Ethereum. I'm guilty of that. If you know some code and Solidity, the programming language of Ethereum. It's not that difficult at all. So I went deep into these degenerate trenches. But when you keep learning, of course, and it took me some years, um, down the road, you start to click more with Bitcoin, right? And for me, a major pivotal shift was realizing that it exists and learning about and fully grasping the Lightning Network. Because many of these shit coins, they sell their TPS, right? How fast they are and whatnot. And if you then learn about Lightning Network, that okay, you have this fixed supply, and then it can also be lightning fast. Then that was for me the first big click into okay, do you really need all this other shit? And then okay, you focus your attention more on Bitcoin, and you just keep on learning, right? And it's a never-ending black hole. And at some point, it starts to click philosophically, revolutionary. You start to realize, okay, this is really a societal shift of civilizational proportions, money, right? That it's such blood flow to what we do on a daily basis. So that's when you, or at least for me, realized, or it got lifted into, I have to do something with this. Got to do something with it. I mean, you want to be relevant, somewhat sense in the world. And you want to, at some point, you're young, you're ambitious, you're crazy, you think I want to change the world, and then you realize, okay, no, I'm too dumb for that. But then you click Bitcoin, and you're like, okay, if there's ever anything going to be something that I can affect in a real positive, tangible sense, make an impact on this world, it's going to be via Bitcoin, because everyone basically doesn't get it yet, and I somewhat do in some sense, and you start to feel this urge of trying to fix the money by fixing the world by fixing the money, right? And so that's when Bitsaga started out, actually completely or somewhat differently, by being a payment gateway, helping merchants take payments in Bitcoin, having a buy button on their website. But it's a difficult sphere. There's some really tough competition in that regard. There's some really great companies doing really great things that already make it very easy, and demand's not that big yet. Um, so where I saw some demand was really the basics. Okay, where do I buy it, and how do I store it? These first steps, right? And where do I buy it? Okay, you can't do that because also there's some big players in that regard already. The exchanges, right? And there's great platforms to buy Bitcoin. So then it's just the hardware side of things that there's really a lot of demand for it. So okay, people get the meme, they get in touch with the meme relatively early on. Not your keys, not your coins, right? And they realize, okay, I gotta buy this hardware wallet, USB kind of thing, and then store it offline on there. Okay, so where do I buy it? So that's where Bitsaga really started to take up. Okay, providing the hardware side of things, and now lately more pivoting into the consultancy layer on top of it, because a lot of people can figure out and do the first steps by themselves, starting to grasp Bitcoin, right? The why of things, inflation, and all the long list of reasons why Bitcoin, right? But then how it really quickly starts to get also very confusing, and there's a lot of terminology, and people are very reluctant to make mistakes or yeah, do something dangerous, not do something insecure, and providing people with the hardware and the consultancy to at the end of the road really hold your self-sovereign money with peace of mind, and not worry about it, because a lot of people tend to worry about their Bitcoin. I used to worry about my Bitcoin a lot, not because I have a lot, lost most of it in a tragic boating accident, but it's we should be able to hold it without worrying about it. And that's just a very it's a relatively sad yeah, it's a sad thing to see that people talk to many clients, and especially more in the earlier stages of your journey, you worry about your Bitcoin. And that's what at Bitsaga we try to um, alleviate, assist with, providing the hardware and the consultancy. So at the end of the road, you okay, I hold my Bitcoin and I'm good. I'm safe. I don't worry about it at all. Not gonna get hacked, not gonna get $5 wrench attacked. Government's not gonna take it. They can do whatever I want. I'm good. I'm free. And that's yeah, I guess how it started out and where it's going now. And then yeah, we can talk about the more advanced practices, the book that's also coming up. But that's how Bitkaga came to be a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, and tell us about that journey. What happened with you? Because I know you've got debanked and you've got deplatformed. So explain that a little bit. What happened there and how did that happen?
Yeah, that was wild. That was so crazy because you hear these things, right? Of um, people, dissidents in mostly Russia or China that they voice an opinion, or actually even also in the Western world with Snowden and Chelsea Manning and whatnot, but not regular merchants. So what happened? Bitsaga's eh, Bitcoin startup security business, providing hardware consultancy. So we sell hardware, and our suppliers. Um, yeah, let me just start with the basic facts. From one day onto the other, we get deplatformed by Stripe. Stripe being a very popular major payment gateway provider. So people can pay with debit and credit cards via Stripe on the website and order wallets or some consultancy. And we just got refused services. It was working for months without any issue. And yeah, you're apparently well, it was some update on the technical plugin on the website, which triggered some check, I guess, on their end, and they realized, hey, you're in this restricted businesses list, crypto, anything crypto, they consider restricted business list. So you just get deplatformed and you appeal, and sorry, sir, nope, we are not serving you. And that seems to be the pattern everywhere, like with every payment gateway provider. We have people from the community because that post, when you posted that Stripe deplatformed, that really blew up. Really, it's happening to a lot of people, but on X, yeah, I like to use a lot of big words. And that post really blew up, and the community outpour support, that was really great. It was crazy to see. Really went sort of viral within Bitcoin X, and it's just one story that is really just an example of a systemic approach that we see of all these payment gateway providers, and not just them, many businesses that are just crypto, we're just, and they're just scared. They're scared from the legislator that they might get fined, and when they're doing shady stuff. And so that happened.
When did that happen, Rob? What year was that? Or was it
That
recently
was
or?
that was like exactly 1 year ago, January 24.
Right, okay. So it wasn't even like in 2022 when all that Operation Cheat Point was happening, all Cheat Point 2.0. It wasn't even then. It was like recently. Yeah.
It was recently, and then we reached out to many different payment gateway providers, and it's all just the same story. They so Stripe deplatformed us, but everyone else is refusing us. And at this moment, you can't pay with debit card, credit card on the Bitsaga website, and that's just how it is. And then, and of course, we run self-custodial BTC Pay server, and PayPal works, thank God. Um, but yeah, so that's really that's a crazy thing to do. But then um,
How do other merchants get around that then? What other payment gateways are
some
they using?
sometimes, oftentimes, I guess they word their businesses in their application forms slightly like an IT business, or I guess, and they don't get caught by the crypto filters. Yeah, I'm not sure. I reached out to, there's many other differences who did get deplatformed, refused. It's really not just Bitsaga. And a whole bunch, they figure out some sneaky way to get their services. So of course everyone accepts Bitcoin, but a lot of normies and new coiners who are entering the world, they still want to prefer with debit, credit card, whatever their the local popular payment gateway is, and yeah, it's really systemic. It's not just Bitsaga. It's crazy to see that you get refused these businesses, whilst they themselves are often embracing crypto pretty significantly, like Revolut, very popular.
Hmm.
They refuse to process our payments, but they are like in their app, they are wildly pushing crypto onto their consumers. So it's just such a two-faced approach, and they are scared of the regulators, but they themselves they're absolutely fine by selling shitcoins to their users. So it's absolutely crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I remember something like that happened to me a few years ago, actually. Because I remember when CBD came out a good few years ago. Uh, we were doing something like funnels and stuff like that, and we had a product out, and same thing happened with Stripe. They just clicked one day, and it just after like a lot of sales, they just cut it off just like that, and we couldn't appeal it, couldn't do anything. So I've seen it happen. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
crazy.
think they were still kind of doing it now, not so recent, but it just goes to show. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Maybe the big
even
boys are trying to take over the market because isn't Stripe doing something? They're integrating with Bitcoin. Weren't they? Did they not integrate with Bitcoin last year on their platform in America? They were doing something with Stripe Connect or something like that.
I think they're embracing maybe crypto in some sense or stable coins. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely up to speed with those developments. But I mean, the even crazier part is not just the platforming and getting refused services by every payment provider out there, but getting completely unbanked. So that's a different story. That's 3 months ago. So what's happening? It requires some backstory. Um, so our suppliers they take fiat, right? And customers pay with Bitcoin on the website. So every now and then, with a very sad face, we have to sell Bitcoin in order to pay our suppliers, right? Um, and at some stage, that was done via peer-to-peer transactions to avoid the big platforms, mostly. Peach, it was. Just by also just grand disgust of the big KYC platforms and just wanted to use peer-to-peer more. And so as a business, that's maybe not, looking back on it, the most intelligent way to approach it. So that's the backstory, what happened. So every now and then, we as a business have to sell Bitcoin to pay our suppliers in fiat. And from one day on the other, um, our private, our business, all of our bank accounts, two banks, KBC, Belgian Big Bank, and Belfius, Belgian Big Bank, all of our accounts got completely blocked without zero prior message, zero communication. KBC, months now, still completely blocked, still zero communication. Absolutely wild. There's an investigation ongoing. That's all we're getting. Belfius did unblock us um, with just a message, hey, you were blocked from this period to this period, referring to some legislation, basically saying, yeah, all you can do is cry about it. We're allowed to do this. It was a suspicious transaction. And that's it. That's it. We just got completely ejected out of the fiat financial system without any warning, any message, no justification whatsoever. And at that point, it's really defeatist. You really feel like a complete Russian dissident. like some Chinese government opposing voice. It's just so utterly wild that that happens to, I'm in the end just building out a specialized IT business, right? Selling some specialized IT hardware, some specialized IT the USB devices, and then some IT security guidance. We're not holding selling any Bitcoin and just selling some, and we got completely unbanked, and it's really crazy. That was the week it happened, the week before Bitcoin Amsterdam, and I was driving, and I didn't. At some point, I want to grab a drink at the at a gas station, right? And you realize I can't pay for food. I can't pay for drinks. I don't have my none of my cards are working. And then you realize your day-to-day life can't go to the shop to buy groceries. I can't buy groceries. I have to pay cash. And it's such a hassle. You get completely ejected. And it's just a systemic approach. It's not just the deplatforming, not just the unbanking, but when you start to dig, you realize that it's really the regulators who are, ironically, with the best intentions, um, making monstrosities of regulations, and that just scares all these payment gateways and the banks uh, with fines, and they just want to touch it with a 10-foot stick. It's crazy. It's so systemic. And what's happening? You want to build a business here in Europe, it's already crazy. But if you want to build a Bitcoin business here, there's so much proof of work that has to happen, and it's absolutely wild what we're facing on a systemic basis. Wild.
Yeah, most people probably don't realize what really is going on behind the scenes and what can happen. I know we've all heard stories about things like this happening to people, but when it actually happens to you, yeah, and how it affects everything across the board, yeah. So like, and there's a system coming that's going to be even worse than that, yeah. About all these CBDs and stable coins, they're trying to call them now to throw the scent off. What it actually is, it's programmable money. Yeah. Uh, People need to really learn about what's coming and if there is a way that they can protect themselves from all these changes that are going to be coming, and they're going to be coming very, very fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, as a of course complete Bitcoin maximalist, right? And I would say proper technical knowledge of how these things are working behind the scenes on a pretty low level. Even for a person like me, you really only then that you feel the total control that they have when they eject you out of the system. If it wasn't for Bitcoin, I wouldn't. I mean, at the conference, I was selling Bitcoin for cash to for the next few weeks because I don't know how long it was gonna last to have cash and pay for groceries and pay my bills. I wasn't able to pay bills. It was yes, it's really crazy, and you have the self-custodial solutions, and that's really the way out, right? Not just as a merchant, we have our self-custodial Bitcoin payment gateway, so everyone can always pay with Bitcoin, right? But it's really difficult, and you can see that happening on the micro scale, like just with small businesses getting deplatformed, unbanked, and Bitcoin will keep working, right, as it was intended exactly for these situations. So that's a beautiful thing, that it's not just philosophical. It's really actually doing what it's supposed to be doing, and in a very real sense, you can reap those benefits, not just with upward price movement, and which is nice, but like um, getting feeling the the decentralized, nobody can turn it off
Yeah, that's the
The
amazing
strength of the
thing.
network, the strength of
Yeah,
the network. You
the
feel
strength of
backed
it. Yeah.
by. It's beautiful. That was yeah, that's great.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one thing is about Bitcoin. Once you understand it and once you get it, yeah, you'll always realize, okay, there is another way. Yeah. And once you find Bitcoin, most people don't really go back. And once they get it, they don't go back. Yeah. They continue on in their lives and they might have a fiat job or something like that. Yeah. But we know how to protect ourselves now. Yeah. And over time, more people will learn about that. And they all think we're way out there at the moment and we're a little bit crazy and but they're all gonna see. Yeah, everybody's gonna learn about Bitcoin. They'll have to in the future if they want to survive properly. Yeah. So and they'll get rewarded after they put in their time to learn about Bitcoin and how to protect themselves. Yeah, from the different things that are coming.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And it's beautiful to see that a lot of people. I mean, there's a shift, and you can notice it at any stage, right? That more people are feeling the pain or feeling the various symptoms of the fiat system, right? Not just inflation, but the quality of products. Just people feel it. Something's up, something's wrong. And as Bitcoiners, we realize that. I mean, the blood of the system is poisoned, right? It's the money, right? It's the money,
Mm.
and a lot of people are feeling the symptoms. And I don't think it takes a whole lot. And a lot of people are starting to wake up that Bitcoin, it's not, maybe it's not just a scam. There's really something here. No banker, no politician can touch it. And then um, the next things start to happen, right? You realize, okay, I gotta perhaps grab some more. You start to learn more, and it's just a never-ending falling down the rabbit hole, right?
Yeah, you're
And
always learning. You're always learning. And something about me, I have an engineering background. Yeah. So when I kind of got Bitcoin, uh, I understood that it worked. It had survived for like 13 or 14 years. Yeah. Once it really clicked in my head. And a lot of people, something like what you're doing, yeah, a lot of technical people as well get involved and get really roped into the technical aspect of it and try and figure out the technical part of it. And they can't get their heads around it. Like, how can somebody build this and just leave it here? Yeah. How can that happen? Yeah. And I think that holds a lot of people back. Yeah. Like in the end of the day, I don't know how this pen works. But I just know it works. It survived the test of time and it works. Yeah. I don't know how Zoom works. I don't know how the internet works. I don't even know how
mhm,
my car works out there. Totally. Yeah. But it
exactly.
works and it survived the test of time. So like Bitcoin has been chugging along for the last 16 years. It hasn't stopped. Yeah. Every 10 minutes, one block is created and it's run on nodes all over the world. So probably about up close to 100,000 nodes out there now. And they can't stop it. They can't take it down. So now what's happening is, and all the nonsense that we heard for so long and for the last couple of years and a long time about Bitcoin owned by the cabal and they owned by this and it's owned by that, all turns out to be nonsense. Yeah. All those people now that people said that own Bitcoin are buying the Bitcoin. Yeah. They can only get their hands on it by buying it. Yeah. That's last year, I think the ETF spent nearly 100 billion buying Bitcoin. When before that, kind of we were predicting that maybe they might spend 10 to 20 billion in the first year.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, but January 10th, that's just gone. Uh, turns out that they spent like close to 100 billion. So they could 4 or 5x that in 2025. That's what I can see. They've only getting started. Now they've dipped their toe in. Now they need to dip another two or three toes in. And then they start dipping the foot in. And then the leg will
Yeah,
go in.
yeah. People, businesses, organizations, states, nation states, like
It's all coming. They're
everybody
all coming.
all at once is starting to wake up. And I do truly believe that in the slowly then suddenly, I really think exponential adoption curve. I mean, the user base is growing faster than the internet. Was that just absolutely?
Yeah.
That's a crazy statistic, and that's just how these network effects come to be, and that's a beautiful thing to see. And with Bitsaga, we try to. I mean, there's a huge amount of great content out there on why Bitcoin, and that is the most important part, actually. Um, but then we can shift there if you like. Um, the beyond the basics, security practices, right? Not your key, not your coins. Write it down on a piece of paper. Don't take a picture of it. Don't put it in the cloud. These things, a lot of people they do get the basics, and every now and then you do do you see a story of a guy getting hacked, and where was your key, sir? Yeah, I took a picture of it. It was in the cloud. Well, yeah, well, there you have it. So, I mean, these things will continue to happen, but what's beyond that, right? Because your stack grows significantly. I think we have a 50% KIGR, right? Cumulative aggregated
Yeah.
growth rate,
Yeah.
about
At
that.
least that. Yeah.
At least that. So whatever it is that you're starting with, you are going to see your stack increasing in value significantly. So everyone who's already in it will have increased security needs at some point down the road, at least every 4 years, every cycle, right? You reach just a new order of magnitude, basically. And then, but also with all the new people, and some people are entering, and they're not entering like a student is, like how I got in it. They're entering with 6 7 digits. That's how they're dipping their toe in, and these people might not be. It might not be the best solution for them to just buy a hardware wallet and keep it offline. Um, you want to perhaps go to the next level. You want to perhaps throw in a passphrase. You want to perhaps look at Shamir secret sharing, that you don't have a single point of failure in your seed. Or perhaps look at multisig. And it's a big step to take if you're coming from zero and you're learning about Bitcoin. You have to jump into multisig. That's a really big jump. But really, the more advanced practices, I feel there's a lot of untouched. They're untouched, and there's a lot of potential there to teach people to really upgrade um, in that regard. There's a lot of great why out there. The approach of Bitsaga really is okay. How do I secure my Bitcoin, my self sovereignty, my own freedom, and do so without losing sleep over it?
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you do then in Bitsaga? Do you have you got an educational program like that you can bring people in to train them on it?
So what we do is sales pitch, right? One sentence. We provide the hardware and the consultancy, but I like to say that neither the hardware nor the consultancy is the main thing we sell. The main thing we really sell is the peace of mind at the end of the road. Whatever, because for everyone, your stack is different than mine, right? Everyone's stack is different. Everyone's technical background. How much are you going to invest? How does your, I mean, is your family somewhat related? Everyone is, everyone's situation is different and everyone's needs are different. And so what's the best hardware wallet for you might not, is not going to be the best hardware wallet for someone else. And so that's where we come in. We look at your situation and we provide you with the right hardware and the consultancy. Often that's multisig. We look more towards the high net worth individuals, and we onboard them and we upgrade their security. Whatever it takes many different shapes and sizes, but often that is a combination of hardware and then upgrade into multisig. On an individual client, family office, businesses basis, case by case. We don't have we don't really believe that much in a one size fits all solution. Like this is the best hardware wallet. Eh, to me, yeah. To you, perhaps not. Um, so that's the approach or what we are doing and the approach we take in that regard.
All right. Okay. Okay. And then what countries are you in? Are you just mostly based out of Belgium? Do you ship worldwide or
We are
how does it
based in
work?
Belgium, and a lot of our clients are in Belgium. We do ship worldwide. Sometimes we get orders from crazy places that we don't even know how to pronounce. Um, but yeah, most of our client base is definitely Belgium, because we also noticed that, and this is going to be toe curling for a lot of Bitcoin maximalists or privacy conscious people. Um, High net worth individuals often they prefer to meet a face in real life. And so we bring all the necessary hardware along and we go to people's places and we do a full complete onboarding. And so that those are mostly clients based in Belgium, also Netherlands, France, Luxembourg. It can sometimes we go places, but um, those are rather popular actually to have uh, to literally guide people, take them step by step, because over a digital meeting, it's possible, and you have a lot more um, privacy protections, right? You can work with your seat with some more comfort, and we do that um, as well. Very popular, of course. But yeah, we do notice our client based, mostly Europe based, the Belgium clients, we can help them locally here. Yeah, so that's what we're mostly doing, helping clients locally with hardware and guidance, helping them to upgrade their security to the more advanced security schemes. Often that's multi-sig, and it can be very basic multi-sig, right? One hotkey, two cold keys. It's a smooth entry, or the full gold 3 of 5 multi-sig setups. It really takes many different shapes and sizes, and we really look at it at an individual, at a client's um, basis. The more advanced security schemes, because there's not a lot of content on these things out there. You get the basics everywhere, right? I mean, there's great YouTube content, X podcasts, whatever. Um, but that's where yeah, that's our focus. The Bitcoin advanced security. That's where the book also comes in.
Very, very good. Yeah, we'll talk about the book now in a few minutes. And do you go around to many conferences? And have you been around to many conferences? Are you planning anything this year? Where are you
Yeah,
going on next
so
year?
in 24 we had our first company booth at Bitcoin Antwerp, the Future Bitcoin conference, um, and of course, yeah, Bitcoin Amsterdam is really close. We were there, but we do also notice Bitcoiners, they're a tough clientele. They like to figure things out for themselves, right? You can't tell them what to do. They're like, "Ah, I'll figure this out on my own. I don't trust you. I'll verify this myself." They get the meme. They live the meme. So that's also part of our approach in not trying to convince anyone of anything, just offering, um, okay, you want to take it to the next level, your security. I mean, these are possibilities. But for conferences, we don't have our own hardware. We are hardware and software agnostic. Like as we said, I mean, everyone's needs are different. So we just look at, okay, your needs. This is a good wallet for you. Um, so we'll be looking to have a booth at the bigger conferences in 25, perhaps Prague, perhaps Ireland. Um, we'll have to look at that. Nothing's fixed yet, but the conference definitely will be going there at least on an individual basis, because they're so lovely. They're great. Not specifically the talks, but just this talking to people, resonating,
Yeah, the
clicking, and
networking and the people that you meet and everything, isn't it?
it's
It's
beautiful.
amazing.
I love it. I love it.
The
Yeah,
people that you
that's
meet at
so
the
great.
conferences.
That's
That's
absolutely that.
why we love going to it as well. Yeah, I love going to the conference as well, and I go with the family, and we bring the children, and it's amazing. The family
That's
events.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's why with our conference as well in Ireland, we encourage children to come. Kids go free. Yeah, at the event.
Great.
Yeah, and be the under 18, they can go for free, and we encourage people to bring all the children with them. Yeah, and interact, and because I truly believe the kids need to learn about this from a very young age, and the children need to learn about what is money and what's actually going on with this fiat system. Because if you don't, yeah, they're going to be like us for a long time that we're just going around the circle. And you just can't get out of the circle until you understand what the elephant in the room is. And the elephant in the room is the currency that we use. And if you can figure that out and you can get a plan, put in a plan of how to start off at the beginning, maybe a little bit, how to get out, use Bitcoin as a savings technology. Uh, I think you can really uh, get ahead of most people. And Bitcoin has proved it now. Yeah. And now with
Definitely,
2025
definitely.
coming and what's coming with everything and all the institutions are getting involved and the big people are coming in, nation states, everybody's looking now.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
people need to try and get the one Bitcoin as soon as they can. That's what I try and tell people anyway. You know what I mean? It was easier when it was 20 grand, 15,000, or even 20 or 30,000, but the longer you leave
Definitely.
it, the further and further away it's going to get from you. And you'll realize that you really do need this in the future. And people do need this in the future as some type of insurance anyway, yeah, to protect yourself,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know.
Definitely.
So talk to us a little bit about the book and what you're writing. And you can explain that a
Right.
little bit.
Yeah. So the book is it's what I said. It really grasps, or the approach really there is, I mean, there is a huge amount of beautiful, beautiful content out there on why, right? And as you just also um, grasped again, um, and that's the idea of the book, to approach the why. No, no, the how, not the why, but the how. Okay, when you start to get the why, okay, I got it. How do I grab as much one Bitcoin, next steps, whatever? How much can you get a hold of? And then beyond the basics, right? Starting with the basics, but also going beyond. So getting it off an exchange on a hardware wallet, and then the next steps. Okay, you got it on a hardware wallet. Um, is it air gapped? Do you are you still comfortable? At some point, it's your value. The value is going to increase, and we notice people worrying about. Are you still comfortable with that single point of failure? Because they realize they can make a mistake and get stolen, compromised in some way, physical, digital. It can get compromised. Um, and so people start to worry about that single point of failure. And they're looking at, okay, perhaps throw in a passphrase that if my seed is compromised, you still have this other element that you need in order to access funds, right? So that mitigates a lot, but it adds actually another single point of failure often, um, because you need these two components. So passphrase is an absolutely beautiful tool in the security scheme. And then people start to look at the next thing, right? You have this Shamir secret sharing. So when you first encounter it, it's really difficult, but you cut your seed basically into three parts, and you need two parts. You can lose one, and you can distribute it geographically, and you get rid of the single point of failure. You have one seed, but you just cut it in three parts. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Okay, but what if you're like with your family, and you're over with the family office, and perhaps it makes sense to have one key at home, one key at a family, and it's geographically distributed. You can sign with one key from your home, and a family member can sign, can add another signature, and then you can manage your funds geographically distributed. And that's not possible with the Shamir secret sharing. That's not possible with the passphrase. So there's many upgrades that you can take from the single seed cold storage into passphrase, Shamir secret sharing, a two or three multi-sig. Perhaps also it's very popular to have one hotkey. And so these more advanced schemes and the evergreen principles behind it, like um, preferring to eliminate risk rather than to reduce it, or yeah, just the awareness of an air gap over USB connection. Um, these are the approach that we're taking with the book Secure in Bitcoin, beyond the basics really. Okay, people have a significant amount of Bitcoin now. I want to take it to the next step, and then the benefits also, of course, of connecting to a node, many on-chain and off-chain privacy practices, like VPN, password managing, um, two-factor authentication with a hardware key. All of these things, they all are related to securely managing your Bitcoin, right? Privacy, um, and also a bunch of case studies. Like these are specific examples of significant holdings that are secured in this way or are secured in this way. And these are practices that are employed in this case study, anonymized, of course. And then just people can read about more. Okay, perhaps these things are not yet for me. They sound too complex, but they start to get comfortable with the more advanced security schemes, and they can have this seed in their mind that perhaps down the road, perhaps in the next cycle, right, in the next 4 years, when we've seen another whatever blow off top, or whatever happens, and then okay, maybe next I have to look at one of these upgrades, create a wallet like that, and perhaps not move my funds entirely to it, but start
Just
playing
test
around
it.
with,
Yeah,
test it,
start playing
start playing
around with it,
around,
test it.
get comfortable with it. And because these more advanced schemes of multisig, when you look at a geographically distributed, completely offline, where the descriptor is also completely offline, connected to a node, it's really something. There's a lot going on there, and that's not something that you use when you're just getting into Bitcoin. So there's a lot to learn there, and that's what we're covering with the book, really, the how.
Yeah, yeah. It is very important. And as we know, people just start off and start buying a little bit of Bitcoin. A lot of people just leave it on the exchange until it gets maybe a couple of grand or whatever, yeah. And then they go to a bit of cold storage. Yeah, that's the next step. But then after that, then it's a whole load of other things. You can go for multi-sig, you can go and do your own multi-sig if you want. You can get
Hmm.
companies involved in it as well, yeah, if you want. So it's always evolving, we're always learning. And uh, and we will keep on learning because we're only starting. This thing's only starting. This whole industry, as I say to people, and I say to a lot of young people as well, I'd be talking to younger people, and even in our training program that we have, uh, like how many accountants are out there? How many doctors are out there? How many dentists are out there? How many mechanics are out there? Yeah, there's a new industry starting, and it's called the Bitcoin industry. Yeah. There's a huge future for any young person that really wants to start getting in now and start learning about Bitcoin. And it's only just starting. We're so early. Yeah. In another 5 years, it'll have advanced so much more. Yeah. In the next cycle by 2028, we'll be advanced so much more. Yeah. So it's an amazing time to be in, I think, and to be part of it and right in the grasps of it. Because I think we'll be looking back on this in 10 or 20 years' time and saying, same as way the original OG Bitcoiners, like yourself when you first started. Yeah. You look back on see how far we've come forward in the last
Yeah, definitely.
10, 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. There's already so many things that have fundamentally changed. I mean, our angle is often multisig, right? And the multisig landscape, it has completely changed over the past 5 years. When you were trying to do multisig 5 years ago, it was absolutely horrendous. It was it was the usability. of making such a transaction, especially if air gapped. But now so many things have changed. On the protocol layer, you have the PSBTs, the partially signed Bitcoin transactions, right? That you can have a transaction with one, two, three signatures. And then the QR based approach, the harder wallets that are now air gapped because it's a security feature, right? But the most beautiful thing about it, I think, is the usability that it brings. You don't have to plug it in and press buttons anymore. You can just point your camera to a QR code, confirm you've added your signature. It's another QR code. You scan the QR code, and everyone knows QR codes, and it's such a beautiful thing that on the protocol layer, on the hardware layer with these air-gapped camera-based devices, and on the application layer, Sparrow, Nunchuck, Keeper, so many beautiful, easy to use applications. So everything has completely changed over the past 5 years. Just in our niche in multisig, so many new things are coming, and now the decaying and expanding multisig, where keys are added or removed from the required key slice. It's a beautiful thing that is now coming up also with the popularization of Miniscript. Liana wallet is now absolutely pioneering that. So it's changing so fast, so rapidly, so significantly. It's beautiful to see, to not just see the adoption, but also the tech itself, the it impact the actual way we use it on a day-to-day basis, not having to shift SD cards from one device to the other. Horrible, horrible to do that, in my opinion, because I'm now used to scanning QR codes. That's so much easier, so much more. I absolutely love it because I really struggled with the SD card based approach. And I'm sorry, I really pity the people who still do that. I did that. I hope that someday you soon jump to QR based approach because it has so many benefits. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's changing a lot. It's changing fast.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what's in line for Bitsaga in 2025? Yeah. And how can people get in contact with yourselves if they want to get in touch with you? Yeah.
So 2024 was absolutely crazy. We sort of exploded. Um, some things went viral, and you really noticed that as a business. So in 2025, we were really taking it to the next level, especially with the consultancy focus. Um, Regulations, of course, limit us. We can't become a key custodian in a multi-sig setup, which we would actually love to do, but it's probably not happening in 25. But a lot of partnerships are crystallizing with on the hardware and software side to really just help people better and taking it to the next level. Significant growth and a lot of great content. And then, of course, a very important part, yeah, the book, Securing Bitcoin. Hope to get that out alongside Consensus Network. They will be our partner in crime in this regard. Huge shout out to those guys. So that will be a huge milestone to have that hopefully Bible of Bitcoin security out. Um, and they can find us, of course, at the website, bitsaga.be for the hardware and consultancy side, and of course, X, where everything's happening, right? We're also active on LinkedIn, but it's mainly happening on X, right? The
Yeah,
Bitcoin
yeah,
community.
definitely. Definitely. Okay, very nice, very nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to link all the descriptions to all your website and your X handles in the description below. And we might even see you in Ireland. Yeah, you never know. You never
You
know.
never
We like
know.
to
Yeah,
meet
yeah.
everybody in
Would love
live
to.
and in the person. Yeah,
Would love to shake your hand, Lawrence. Thank you.
you're more than welcome. More than welcome. Thank you. Yeah, and we'll talk soon. We'll catch up soon.
Thank you. Talk soon.